Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Manifest, a great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Obviously, you have TJ staying with, the Stone family, and it's like, it's a situation of him and Olive, working together, trying to decipher the journal and everything. At the same time, there's this whole thing with Cal because he's remembering something that we as the audience got a peek of last season, but now they're kind of bringing it back, that he saw something. When the plane disappeared, he saw something and he was like, it's all connected. But now, like, Cal is trying to connect because he's trying to remember what it is that he saw, but he couldn't. And he's trying to make this web that shows everything being connected, but he just can't quite get it right. And so it's an interesting turn of events because at the same time, Olive and, TJ looking over Azura's, book about the fact is the moment they referenced the Silver Dragon, I was like, Silver Dragon? I was like, you mean as in, like, the 828 flight? I kind of figured as much the moment they were like, a Silver Dragon. I was like, wouldn't that be a plane? So, we'll get to that soon enough. But I was thinking, because at first my initial thought was like, could it be like he had a calling as in like a super far in the future vision and it just manifested itself as a Silver Dragon because that was the only way he can like explain it to himself back then. But regardless, there was some interesting things brought up that basically the callings come with a price. That basically you can't have like all the good that comes with them. There's always a trial followed afterwards. So it's basically like, it's like the death date is a byproduct of you having, like, I guess it's almost like your body can't handle having all this power all at once. Being connected on such a level eventually kind of, I guess because it puts you on that scale of like, you're almost in this in-between state of, I guess, of life and death, almost to a certain extent, and like it takes its toll on you, whatever the case may be, but it's just kind of like, there's a negative side to this. Obviously, TJ's, because it's like, out of all the people that were in that building that died, he survived. It's kind of like, why did I survive when no one else did? But as time, goes on, they're getting a little erratic. Cal starts acting up. You have Grace getting a little sick. The fact is that it even seems like, Ben is getting a little erratic, and even TJ's being all gloom and doom and stuff. And it's like, what's up with this? And then it's slowly but sure, well, we get revealed at first. It's like, it was really interesting because it's like, oh yeah, the storm outside is going to pass. And I was like, what storm? I'm like, what is she talking about? It's just like, yeah, it's a clear day outside. I'm like, there's never been a calling like this. For one, that went on as long as his calling did, and to the point they didn't realize it was a calling. Like, obviously there's always been that situation of like, well, I'm seeing some stuff, but it's always been a quick flash. It's never been this consistent, even to the point like, wait, we shifted over into a calling and we didn't even realize it. And I think it's so interesting because, like, if you look at the rest of the episode, it's designed in a way where it's like, well, you wouldn't necessarily, in retrospect, it would make sense because you look at any other area, there's no storm or anything. It's not really cloudy or anything. But the fact of the matter is, it's in a lot of indoor areas, so they probably made it purposely so you wouldn't realize that ahead of time. But I was like, you wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't, probably even noticing that, I probably wouldn't put two to two together. But the storm's all in their heads and everything. But like I brought up earlier, Ben starts to realize like we're going a little mad because it turns out the only way, Azura's men, they all had the callings, but the only way they could stop it was basically they threw themselves overboard. It's like, like almost like how the sirens call to you, and in Greek mythology, and basically if you don't, if you listen to their voices, you'll crash your ship type of situation. It's not necessarily the same, but it's a close enough parallel can make that basically they would throw themselves overboard because it was the only way to get the voices to stop. And it basically, the callings basically drove them mad. And we see it's literally repeating itself now because the way everyone's acting, what Grace is going through, feeling seasick, everyone's kind of being affected a different way except for Olive, I even like the reason why she's like, the reason why we're meant to, because the card she got is what led them to finding Azura's book, because the fact of the matter is she kind of got the piece to the puzzle because they weren't around to get it. But at the same time, it's like, you and me, TJ, are supposed to solve this because you can read Latin. And as I Google Translate only got her so far because it all seemed gibberish, but TJ was able to fully translate, so meaning this was meant to happen, so I love that we're kind of breaking this down and, because TJ's supposed to be kind of the figure, because it's all kind of started with him in a sense. So it's like he has to be the one to figure this out. Because at first he's wanting to leave because he's like, as long as if I leave, maybe the calling will stop. But then Ben goes outside and he sees the lightning and he remembers it from the book. He goes through the book and he starts looking and it's like the same exact lightning pattern. But then he looks at the mast of the ship and it's like the line from the mast of the ship. It's like, that's the web they're trying to build, and they build the ship and everything. It's like, okay, all right, this is interesting. I was like, okay, and then all of a sudden, TJ, Grace, Ben, and Cal both get transported onto Alzura's ship, and then in the sky they see 828, and it's like, wait, and kind of piecing it all together that it was in fact the silver dragon that Alzura and his people saw, and then it's like, wait, but that was the 828 plane that Alzura saw. How did it happen? And to me, when Cal said it's all connected. Because it's all one event, that storm. Because it's like, how can us and Alzura have been in the same? Obviously, I was like, did you guys time travel or something? Not necessarily. They didn't time travel. They were caught in an event that spread across. Because it explains 828, Zeke, home dude that died last season, the one that was, who ended up drowning. Because the whole point was like, how is that all connected to 828? Like, what was happening? Because we do know there was a storm the night of the situation with Zeke. So it all happened all across space and time. This one event happened. So it also makes you wonder about like Captain Dale and once again the doctor from last season that he ended up kind of dying with. Like we don't really know if there's more to that or not. But whatever this event is, this storm spread across space and time. That one event happened all at once and they all experienced it at the same time. That's why Zeke's situation happened like a year later. Alzura's happened all those, like, what was it, like hundreds, maybe not thousands of years ago. But that's how it all happened. Is like, so that's interesting. That it kind of works out like that. It's like, what is this storm? What is this thing that can exist across space and time like that? And kind of it's one singular event that's just happened at different points in time, but it's all connected. So literally at the same time that's happening, Zeke is at the same time experiencing it. It's just so interesting. It's fascinating. So it's like what this means in the grand scheme of things, because Ben kind of figures out that basically the book was warning that if you don't listen to the callings, follow the callings. That's the only salvation, because that's the only way you're going to get it to stop, because the callings kind of manifest this way because they're trying to teach you to keep going. Everything is connected. Like if you want to survive this whole situation, if you want to figure everything out, you need to follow the callings. Don't turn away from them, which obviously that's a complicated thing because certain people are, in particular Sanvi, because we end up finding out, and I guess that's why Zeke is kind of, well, I would assume it's a byproduct of his death day, but nevertheless, Zeke ends up meeting up with Sanvi, and she's acting very erratic. I'm like, okay, because I'm like, are you not even bringing up the fact is that you're losing time? But I guess maybe she's forgetting the fact that she's losing time because she's starting acting a little erratic, and Zeke is like, wait, we're starting to have the same conversations over and over again. Wait, you're looking for the medicine? Okay, you were looking for your journal. This is the third time I've had to mention you. You've forgotten that you. It's like you need help, but Sanvi's like, no, I got this. Like the fact of the matter is, because for her, she brought up the fact is there's a little bit of like impulse control issues, which even Zeke brought it up because I brought it up, but immediately after I stated like, oh, he's a drug addict, and he was like, yeah, it's someone who's a recovering addict. Having impulse control issues isn't a good thing. I was like, yeah, I literally, so it's like even Zeke recognizes that issue, so he's reluctant to take the medicine, but he goes to Alex because Alex is the only Dr. Sanvi can trust, because if everyone else, at her place finds out, if they find out she was experimenting on herself, like she'd lose her job and everything, and she'd lose the, position and equipment necessary to find a cure for this whole, death date situation. Once again, like sadly, Sanvi's desperation to save not just herself, but other people, because even Alex was like, well, that's you, Sanvi, always putting other people's needs before your own. She's so desperate to save everyone else because she blames herself because the major ended up getting all her research because of her. So she kind of, blames herself for all that happening. So she's so desperate to kind of find a cure for everyone, because whatever the major's got planned, maybe she can counteract it by immediately curing everyone, but also saving them from the death day. It's including, Zeke, who's down to only a couple months, So Alex was able to help her out to kind of, because what was it? like I said, she was just basically, I think, like, she was basically in overdrive. And luckily, Alex gave her something to kind of calm her down, you know. And, you know, Sanvi, because Sanvi was bringing up 828 stuff, and Zeke was like, but it's like, oh, were you on 828? He was like, kind of think she was like, oh, were you on 828? He's like, no. It's like, then what does this have to, and, you know, and Sanvi being like, did I say too much? And he's kind of like, yeah. It's like, he's like, I get the whole situation of, like, this is someone that you feel like you're destined to be with. He's like, I totally get that. But at the same time, it's like, it's a situation, and I think it's something Sanvi realized. She doesn't want to drag Alex into the situation, because she even said it herself. It's like, this is something dangerous. And the fact is, with the major and all that's connected to this world, considering the fact is Xers are coming after them too, like, everything laying of this whole, you know, calling situation comes with that downside. So it's like, obviously she doesn't want to drag Alex into that. So, but she's still going along with the cure. But obviously, as we see, it's like ignoring the callings is a bad thing. And now Zombie's suffering the ramifications of turning away from it. And Zeke's kind of going down that path, but at the same time, he is listening to them. But part of me was wondering, well, has he ignored some of the callings, hence why his fingers? But it's like, no, that's just, I think it is a byproduct of his death day. But it could be also a byproduct of him not listening to the callings as well. But I feel like he's been following them, you know. It's just like Sanvi's just tired of like their lives being held hostage by this calling situation. So that's definitely going to be interesting. Like, we kind of circle back around to that. I'm curious, is this really the last we'll see of Alex, or maybe there will be more to this situation? I don't know. I'm interested to see. But along with all that, there's everything with Michaela trying to take down Jarrett, but the captain ends up, you know, calling in an IA because she knows, like, if she didn't do it, Michaela was going to. But IA isn't 100% on her side about taking down Jarrett, because then they start bringing up stuff of like, oh, here are some of your cases and stuff like that. It's like the whole thing of like, you know, it's like, oh, there's all this subsequent, like, lack of evidence and stuff like that. Oh, anonymous tips. You just happen to solve these cases. And now they're starting to like twist it around and make it seem like Michaela caused all these incidents so that she could come out seeming brighter, because it's like, oh yeah, like you and Jarrett, you broke up, and it's just like, oh, you want to kind of almost like she's trying to play the hero, so she's creating problems to solve them, which it's like, when you look at everything, how can you honestly say that? But it's like, there's no other real explanation. So it's kind of sad, because obviously Jarrett's trying to save himself, and I was wondering if the captain threw Michaela under the bus, but it turns out Simon's the one that did it. All the files that he gave to Simon gave to IA to kind of bury Michaela, because part of me was wondering, the fact that they were going so hard after, I was like, are they Xers? Probably not. It's probably just a situation of they are very, you know, it's one of those things, it's cop shows in general, they make you go, ooh, I hate IA. IA is always getting in the way of people. Like, that was always something with SVU where you're just like, oh, like, that IA agent always showing up, giving Stabler and Bits in a hard time. But it's like, IA, it's a good thing that IA exists. It's meant to be a check and balance to keep police in line, you know. If they do something, they have to be, you know, investigated and, you know, grilled for what they potentially did. So like, it's one of those things, like, because I watch enough cop shows and I'm like, ooh, because, you know, cop shows make it go, oh my god, IA is the worst. And it's like, you kind of, you know, it's such an interesting thing. Like, I'm going on a tangent about it, but it's like, she's getting railroaded so hard, she has to bring in representation, you know, her union rep and everything, because they're trying to even suggest like, oh, the fire. I didn't even realize, well, I won't go into it, but regardless of all this, the fact of the matter is they're even trying to put the fire on her and everything. She's like, wait, what are you saying? Like, no, it's just like, oh yeah, like the bank, that was, an 828 or 2. So it's like, oh, maybe your brother's involved in this. Oh, maybe you got Olive to lie about, could she do anything? Because her co-aunt's a cop and everything. It's like twisting everything against her. And, you know, for Jarrett, it's like Michaela going down this way isn't a good thing, because it would drag him down with her. And so he goes to confront Simon, and Simon's just kind of like, basically all the stuff he found out from Ben, he's like, we could have just leaked this online, all those files and stuff, but we can't, because we need drastic action, because he found out about the telepathy because of what Ben found, like them connected, the callings and stuff like that. So obviously there is a conspiracy here, because he's just kind of like, oh, the fact of the matter is they're shaping the world, kind of, he's in the conspiracy lane of like, oh, they're shaping our world the way they want to, that they're like this like telepathic like group of people being able to shape the world like that, which is like, they're kind of following something higher powered and stuff like that, but that would only feed his paranoia even more. But it's like, even though he sounds crazy and paranoid, there is some truth to it, even though maybe it's for the purpose of shaping the future for the better, but still there is truth to it, even though it seems like, oh, you from an outside perspective, you seem crazy, but obviously Jarrett knows that the whole calling stain, the telepathy, but he pretends like he didn't know about it. But it's like also like Simon's like, oh, but we got a friend on the inside of the department who'll take care of it. And obviously all that Michaela's trying to do is defend herself, but her union rep is like, all right, you're trying to railroad her, let's go to a secure location, because if we keep talking here, like other cops are about to probably hear what she's saying, and a cop turning on another cop is going to be career suicide. So they want to relocate somewhere else until we see that Jarrett sees that her union rep is an Xer. So it's like, oh, he's going to drop her off and kill Michaela. He's going to take her somewhere, but he's going to kill her. So he ends up arresting her in front of everybody. And she's like, oh, I'm going to tell everyone. I'm not going to stop until I'll burn down this department just to take you down. But Jarrett's like, shut up. I just saved your life, and closes. And Michaela's looking like, wait, what? So once again, their need to try and go so deep into this situation. Once again, it's like, because you kept so many people in the dark about this, it's like, it was only a matter of time before things went sideways like this. Just because, Michaela became suspicious of what you were up to, Drea became suspicious of, and it's like, they're really good at their job. And it's like, if you had just brought them into the fold, things wouldn't have gone down the route that they have. So now it kind of because now that Jarrett did what he did, it kind of compromises his standing, because Simon's going to be like, why did you do what you did? He'll probably try to come up with an excuse, but Simon's still going to be a little hesitant, It's going to be interesting. Like, your plan I get it. The less people who know about this operation, the better. Like, the more likely you're able to kind of get it all done without a hitch. Because also, it's a thing of, like, there's Xers in this whole situation who are probably in a higher position, that if you went through the proper channels and everything, there's probably, like, it's on a very need-to-know basis. It seems like it's just the captain and Jarrett, but who knows how beyond that. Obviously, they haven't informed IA about it, but, because it's probably a thing of, like, we don't know who to trust, so we're keeping it super close to the vest. But it's like, if you had brought Michaela in, then it probably would have been like, he had to create the distance between them to kind of sell the whole him being with the extras now type of situation. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where that ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.